This is A to Z, episode 126.
Today's guest is Brent Heironimus from Donna's Farm.
It's like they're trying to be too meta.
We're gonna make them an offer they can't refuse.
Much better.
Yeah. You
Can I buy you a drink?
You can just
But-
well, I mean, he did pick out somebody we know.
Well, you sidestepped the question. That
No,
technology does not
no.
exist. Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm here with my co-host, Zach. Welcome to the A to Z podcast, where we sit down with the folks that make Southeast Texas a better place to live.
And if you're new to the show, thanks for checking us out. A to Z can be found on all major platforms. That's pretty much everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Anywhere you can find something, we're there.
That's right. And if you like what you hear, you can also text us at our phone number 409-206-2971. That's 409-206-2971. Send us a little texty, send us a picture of a dog. If you have a suggestion for a guest, that's a great place to text that to us.
And this episode is going to be foodie focused. This weekend is going to be
This
the kickoff.
weekend, that's right.
To visit Beaumont's Beaumont Week, Restaurant Week.
Restaurant Week, yeah. Visit Beaumont's Restaurant Week. It's there are like 100 restaurants participating. I don't know. You can go on the website.
Yeah,
go
look
on
at the link right here. It's visitbeaumont.com.
And they have a list of all
Yeah.
the restaurants participating. Some of them will give you $10 off a meal. Some will have a free appetizer. You know, you just have to go and see for yourself.
And we got more about that later in the break, but this episode is about Donna's Farm
That's right.
and all the cool things they're doing down there.
I just now realized this the other day when I was thinking about this episode is that we just had that hard freeze.
Mhm.
So they probably
a lot.
lost like the majority of their crop, you know? But, you know, we filmed this before the freeze, so you get to hear about all kinds of stuff. You get to hear how a small-scale farm produces, like, you know, really, really high-end produce.
Mhm.
You get to hear how they battle pests in an organic way. We talk about a little bit about what is organic and all the differences in terminology.
Well, also the challenges of being a small farmer in
Yeah.
Southeast Texas, you know.
We get to learn about our dirt. You know what kind of dirt we live on?
Yeah.
Shoot, you'll find out.
But that plays into this restaurant week that we have coming up because a lot of those restaurants use his produce,
That's
and a lot
right.
of people around here cook with his produce, and you know they have a good thing going down there. So make sure you support them. Anything they have going on, you'll follow them on their socials, and enjoy this episode.
Dude, let me tell you something about Munchies and Salisbury too.
Best sauce.
Best salsa.
Best sauce.
Best salsa. Because they have
Still.
a hot and a cold.
I'm not a hot salsa kind of guy.
No?
Not a raw tomato sauce guy either.
No? Really? That's surprising.
That's not my. I love tomatoes, but like
To give you like heartburn or something?
no, just not the. I'm just not the flavor profile of the tomato. Just doesn't work for me like that. I'm not. I mean, I don't mind pico, but I'm not a huge pico fan.
Yeah, I'm more of a salsa guy than a pico guy too.
Yeah.
I like pico.
You know? I mean, tomatoes have changed a lot though. You know?
Exactly.
I-
Because of
I've-
the tomatoes.
I've seen it
Tomatoes
seems like
have changed.
it seems like every year tomatoes get worse and worse to me in the grocery store. I don't know why. It's just they just all look homogenous and red and fake.
It's why I don't eat them raw or don't eat them on like a pizza or anything like that. Is because most of the time they don't taste good. It's like, why would you eat this? It doesn't taste good at all.
It seems like there's such a big monoculture. You know, it's like
The seed breeders now are breeding for holding shelf stable because stuff's transported so far. Disease resistance, crack resistance, blemish free because we have the grocery store mentality. Things got to look perfect.
Oh, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
apples that look pretty forever, even though they're rotting on the inside.
the golden delicious, red delicious apples.
just-
Yeah.
No flavor.
yeah. I just don't trust it though. I look at those tomatoes and I don't trust them.
See, we grow some of the same varieties though.
Yeah.
The red ones, Big Dina's we grow. It's our greenhouse. Everyone, because this crowd around here is a green zucchini, yellow squash, red tomato. So that's the biggest seller for us is a red slicer.
Really?
We grow the greenhouse varieties for productivity and getting enough yield on them, and you know they look. Even we sell them with blemishes and people don't mind. But versus the heirloom, like people are like, what's the difference? I'm like, you know, if you're asking the difference, you don't know tomatoes.
Right.
Usually your store-bought red tomatoes. But when you try one of our heirlooms or some other ones we grow, you're like, even though our red ones, they're grown in the soil and we feed them with organic material and microlife fertilizer, the flavor is different from that compared to these big houses that grow them hydroponically with chemicals.
Right. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that go into a vegetable. I mean,
yeah.
you have your soil, you have all the minerals that it takes, all the fertilizer, but also it comes down to the raw genetics of the fruit itself. you know?
Yeah.
So when you get an heirloom tomato and its genetics are just what they are to taste good, and you're not putting a whole bunch in to make it taste bad for bugs or whatever. It's just, it's going to taste bad.
Vegetables, especially tomatoes, are kind of like a wine, and terroir makes a big difference. The climate, whether it's hotter or colder, certain times of the year, especially the soil. Because like I said, someone could grow the same time as commercial variety, but it doesn't taste the same because the trace minerals that they pick up out of the ground, like a wine picks up.
Yeah.
Even the heirloom, what people are calling heirlooms now, I'm not too sure much of it is a true heirloom because even like purple Cherokee, everyone loves the flavor. It's a really hearty tomato, but the seed breeders, the ones who have taken that and made it more more productive, so they've just taken through the old school way of seed breeding and developed a better quality of that one. They try and keep flavor. Like there's a big farm out in California called Wild Boar Farm, and he breds like the crazy striped ones and these
like variegated. Yeah,
variegated. He's got one that's like a black color that turns dark in the sun. With the super high in antioxidants. The yields may not be great, but it's just these really crazy colored, bicolored tomatoes and stuff. So they have the heirloom quality, but he's this plant came like the green striped zebra tomato. It was just a genetic throw. It came off. They took that and exploited that plant to get a green one.
Right.
Same with like Cara or red navel oranges. So that's one that was the tree started producing red colored inside, and they called it Cara. They marketed it differently, but they exploited what nature did naturally. Came up with a new product.
Yeah.
So a lot of those sometimes come about. And they're trying.
Is there anybody that breeds, or I'm sure there is, but like breeding something specifically for flavor, even though they're ugly?
Oh yeah. So Chef Dan Barber up in New York.
Ugly, or if they don't last long, or
Row 7 Seed is the newest one. Dan Barber up in New York and a farm up in upstate. They started developing things for flavor.
Yeah.
So they're smaller, like their Badger Flame beet's a gold beet. It's long and kind of tubular in shape, but it has a sweetness to it. The normal gold beets have like an earthy flavor to them. But they've actually bred it where it's like a sweetness to it. And then some of their other butternuts and different things they're working on. It's hard though, going from what people are used to standardized, perfect big vegetables to get people not to care what it looks like and to care about the flavor.
Yeah. Well, people have such expectations that have been built up over their entire lives. And especially in this country, in America, we're very like honed in on certain things that we eat. Like we eat carrots, but we don't eat parsnips. You know what I mean? Our diet is so very specific. I mean, even with meat, you know what I mean? Poultry, pigs, and cows. That's it. You know what I mean? We don't eat rabbits. We don't eat pheasant. We don't eat any of this other stuff. So it's really hard to like get in there. And then also, since everyone has those expectations, you're not going to see that in a grocery store.
Yeah.
You know? So everyone
where you're
thinks
at, you can, but like originally carrots weren't orange. That was a breeding factor, and I forget the reason why. It's like American cheddar was never yellow. It was back in the Revolution. They dyed it yellow so we'd know it was American cheddar. Yeah.
Oh wait, because it was because actual cheddar is just like white.
It's white, off
white.
Creamy color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the cow's milk is that time of year, it could be a yellowish tinge because of the fresh flowers or whatever they're eating in grasses in the spring. But
well, it's like that's the one thing that I've slowly learned as I've gotten older is like just figuring out like where it all came from and how they got it to be what it is, and it's all it's all genetically modified, I guess you could say. We just picked what seeds wanted to be here, or by nature, or just intentionally. But it's also like one thing I've learned a lot more of watching and participating more in like the farmers market and talking to farmers like you and everybody else is eating things when they're in season.
Yeah.
Because most Americans are so used to having something all the time. Like you can always go to the store and get carrots, tomatoes, everything.
I mean, we have blueberries in the winter because we're getting them from Chile.
And then there's hatch chili season. There's still hatch chili season.
Yeah, it's
still
like
a thing
February.
That
people are like, do you have any okra? I'm like, ma'am, it's February. Oh, doesn't it not grow now? No, ma'am, it's February. It's hot. It takes hot weather. It takes dry. We get that request all the time at the farmer's market. Just the disconnect of where your food comes from, when you can get it. When you're like, strawberry season will start here in January. Strawberries take the colder weather. Then you got strawberry, blueberry. You get into blackberries after that. Then you get into figs in the summertime. Figs, satsumas are the first citrus we get. Depending on how cold it is, different times of year. Sometimes September, sometimes October, later. And now we're past kind of satsumas. You get your nuts in the fall, your pecans and things like that. Pomegranates, if they have anyone that grows them locally, they grow beautifully here. They can, but they get like sunspots and they look bad on the outside. They're not aesthetically pleasing, but they taste great on the inside.
Yeah.
This area used to have, before World War II, there was over 5,000 acres of fig production here.
Wow.
Figs?
Figs. It was a huge area for growing figs, yeah. They went to canneries mainly.
Fig trees do really well here.
Really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
well. And there's like hundreds of varieties of fig trees. People didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But it was all commercial production stuff. But
People also don't realize they're eating wasps' larvae too.
Well, that's not always true, though.
Oh,
no?
Because there's open eye and closed eye. So,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
so
yeah,
the
right,
open
yeah.
eyes are more up northern a little bit. Down here, we more closed eye varieties.
I mean, I'm totally cool eating wasp larvae.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
You would never know. They're so small. You'd be surprised how many.
The ones that they're talking, the fig wasps are only like that big.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I
a
don't,
centimeter. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
really
little.
small.
I mean, I don't care. I'll eat bugs. I literally have cricket flour in my pantry.
Nice.
It's ground up crickets.
High protein. Good for your soul.
I mean, it's flour also, but it's ground up crickets too. Like, makes actually healthy pancakes instead of non.
Gross.
Whatever, man. Get off my steez. Man, but that is something that has been lost is like seasonality.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because you can go to HEB and get that anytime. Get cherry tomatoes
I find it
all year long.
funny that people are going to the farmer's market and asking you why you don't have them instead of just wondering why they always have them out there. You know?
Yep. I get questions all the time of like,
Yeah.
people ask us questions all the time about stuff like that. We are if you're used to seeing green zucchini and yellow squash, when we have a table of white scallop squash, they walk up, do you have any squash? And you're like, it's right here, ma'am. Like, oh, what do you do with it?
Variety, yeah.
Or even beets with the beet greens.
Yeah.
Or Swiss chard is a big one.
Mhm.
What do you do with it? I'm like, it's a green, ma'am. You cook it like any other green,
Any
you
green,
know?
yeah.
But people don't know what they have to do.
Or you just be like, Google it.
Well, I try and be polite and give them recipes.
Yeah.
Or kale. When kale was a superfood 4 or 5 years ago, we couldn't grow enough kale.
Yeah.
Really?
And the
That
next
big
year, the year after,
explosion?
now I have a 50-foot bed and I sell 12 bunches a week of
Really?
kale.
Wow. You doing a lot of microgreens?
No one buys
No,
around here. No one
no.
cares. Like, I have a friend
I
up
always
north.
figured it was
I
like
thought
I always figured it was
microgreens
like the
was-
restaurant tours that
Yeah.
are
It
buying
just
them mostly.
it
you know?
depends. I have a friend up north in Michigan. They
Yeah.
were doing. They're pumping out 400 or 500 trays a week in peak season
Yeah.
of microgreens.
I know it's big in the north, like the Curtis Stone people and all that guys.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
They
it hit
only
around
do.
here. Monica's and all those people were doing microgreen and
Yeah.
everything for
but
a while.
it started now. There's a lot more like commercialization of it. It's just expensive, and people kind of look at the budget of it. You know, it's like we're down to pretty much doing pea shoots. We did sunflower for a while, but you know, it's how many can I sell versus is my time involved in the waste if I'm I'm feeding the chickens and the ducks with them. Pea shoots hold really well. They're versatile in that sense, and then even then we sell maybe 2 dozen bags a week, maybe.
So you have to be really versatile. You have to. You're not like you don't have a contract with Hoigong Foods and you're literally just growing
No,
red
no.
jalapenos.
Yeah.
You're going to the farmers markets, right? You're trying to sell to restaurants, maybe stuff like that.
There's not many chef-driven restaurants here. I mean,
Okay.
the restaurants are it's hard to be a restaurant. I mean, Monica does a great job. Suga's Chef Evan down there at Suga does a good job.
Love Chef Evan. Yeah.
Gather did when they were open. Of like Crystal would be like, "Bring me what you got," and then I would just I know about what they're using, about where they're at. Okay, I still got this, and it's just so fresh when I bring it to them. A day or two old, it's lasting 2 weeks for them for a lot of things.
Right.
And it's can you be versatile enough in your menu to use this up, and that's a very hard skill to do for most restaurants, unless you have a chef-driven restaurant with
Yeah.
Monica's or
Well,
Suga's
you also have
downtown.
to have the customers
Exactly.
who expect that. You know what I mean?
Expect the variety and
who walk in and are willing to give something a
the
shot.
seasonal
you know? Yeah,
vegetables, whatever the farm's got
Right.
bringing in, that kind of thing. Or do they want the same green beans with their chicken every time?
Yeah.
They want that same thing. They want to expect the same thing. So I mean, it's a foodie town in a sense. Even Houston has a trouble with that. Some of them are more chef driven, and they can put things on the menu. They're changing their weekly menu. It's just hard sometimes, and that, especially now with the COVID stuff, the restaurants just. I know farms that have been they're 90% of the business was restaurants, and they're struggling to switch back over because they were close to big cities and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
yeah.
They have these chefs they could grow like petite this and that and stuff would never sell at a farmer's market. It's this very chef-driven restaurant focus.
It's like little carrots that look perfect, but they're little.
They're just regular carrots, yeah. Or zucchini with the flower still on the end of them, and like
Yeah.
peas with the flowers on the end, like just little pea tendrils.
Yeah.
Most people would never buy that, But this is, like I said, this is a yellow squash, green zucchini, red tomato town. So
Yeah.
I've tried some crazy stuff, and it's just like we grew a bunch of shishitos. Shishito peppers are amazing, but no one knows what to do with them. And
Which ones are the shishitos?
the Japanese shishito peppers.
What do they look like?
They're 3 or 4 inches long, green. You can saute them real quick and use like an aioli and dip them with them.
Are they kind of bumpy?
No, they're a little smooth skin.
Okay.
Anyway, but it's like here we were getting $6-7 a pound, and I go to a big city in Houston, that's double the price. But
Yeah.
no one knows what to do with
They're
it.
at in HEB every now and then you'll see them in a plastic container.
I think I know which ones they are,
they'll be in the little plastic tub.
And there's no weight to them. They weigh nothing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a Russian roulette pepper because 1 out of 10 may be ripping hot. The other ones have great flavor. You just don't know which one's going to be hot.
Yeah.
People are like, Joe, it looks like this or this. And I said, you don't know what they're going to look like when they're hot. But you just literally blister them in a pan with oil, salt, and serve them.
Yeah.
Look like Barsnat kind of pepper. Like we switched over from growing bell peppers because I've had crazy issues just trying different things with them and trying.
You had trouble with bell peppers?
It may just be us, maybe me. But we switched over to.
It's gumbo season, bro.
They're out of season now. It's cold.
Yeah,
peppers are hot. I'll start my new ones in January. But like we switched over to one called a Flamingo, which is a Central American pepper. Handles our heat way better. It's a smaller pepper. It goes from a yellow to like a real light pale color, yellow orange to a red. Great flavor, thick walled. And we have a Red Sword. It's an Italian roasting pepper. Phenomenal flavors. And once people try our peppers, it's like bell peppers don't have much flavor.
No, yeah, no.
These peppers, even at like half color, have flavor. And
oh wow!
So that's what we switched over. And they grow great. The Red Sword not as much in the heat of summertime, but
it's Red Sword.
Red Sword is what it's called. It's about 7, 8 inches long, about 3 or 4 inches around.
Red, yeah,
red.
Yeah,
it goes from green to red.
Very cool.
Capia is, I think, the name everyone, but the generic name is Red Sword.
Yeah.
For it. They're a hybrid seed that were developed for flavor and a lot of things like that. Like we used to grow a lot more heirloom peppers and things like different seeds, but the problem with heirlooms when you're trying to grow production like we do, there's not production there. Sometimes we grow in the Cherokee purple tomatoes and we get 2 or 3 weeks out of production. They just want to die or disease gets to them and we still grow them because people love them and they pay top dollar for them because once you have a Cherokee purple tomato, you're like, I want this.
It's deep flavor. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, super tomato flavor. So that's the same with the other peppers. I try to go more flavorful. Yeah. And then a lot of the stuff you see, it's an F1 or a hybrid. It's not GMO. Getting GMO'd stuff is pretty hard. You're signing contracts, these big commodity croppers.
Because you can't spread the seeds anywhere.
Yep.
You can't do anything with it. Like you have to buy a whole new crop when your new crop comes in.
Exactly.
All that crazy stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of the F1s are just a hybrid it's a first generation is all it means. So they took this plant and came up with this. But if you try to replant that seed, you'll get somewhere in between there.
Right.
There's no consistency to it. They say
because they haven't hammered it.
It takes like 7 generations. Even then, it's seed. I listened to a podcast on seed breeding. It was deep.
Yeah.
Just because you think you keep crossing these two, female and male here and a female and male, you're crossing them back and forth to try and get. And it's a pretty in-depth process.
You'd have to have like a clean room or a clean green room, and then you get the little paintbrush and then
they do them outside too.
Then clip them and then label that one because that's what it looked like. Take a picture of it.
Oh,
I thought about.
It just takes generations to get stability.
I thought about doing that, but it's just like 7 years to get a pepper. No,
you can do it faster, but it's just like some of they'll screen them off to keep bugs from going crossbreeding them. The wind and it's intense.
That's what that guy in Carolina who's invented all those peppers. That's what he does.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but the one who invented the Carolina Reaper,
Pepper X,
Pepper X, all that stuff. Yeah. That's what he does. And what's funny about that guy is I read an article about him where they were asking him, what's he ever going to do if someone makes a pepper that beats his? Because
he's got more in the bank.
He was like, I've got 20 more. He's like, I got 20 more.
They did a Netflix. They did a We Are the Champions or whatever on Netflix, and there was one episode was about pepper eaters, and he did his own pepper contest, and Carolina Reaper was like the 3rd pepper out of 20. And then all the others he brought them out of the vault.
Out of the vault, yeah.
Yeah, and he just stuff that has never been eaten before.
Imagine that.
And hasn't been tested, and they looked wicked too.
Like we grew some. We got some we grew this year for Como's pepper sauce.
Some Reapers or
Reapers, Buddha Hut, Naga 7 Brain. I mean,
I've never even heard of Naga.
Yeah,
I don't even know
ripping hot chocolate peppers and like picking them. You're okay if you crack one open. It smells hot. Like people like you eat them. No, I don't want to eat them. Like it's ridiculous. Like the heat on these peppers, and you're like, I'm good.
Like what do you do with them?
You put it in a sauce, and you use very sparing amount of peppers.
I mean, I couldn't imagine having a whole the habaneros are holding on this year. That one tree,
mine are still on the tree
is
too.
Looking great, and it's like I can use 5 at a time for some things for like making sauce or something like that. But like I couldn't imagine having a tree like getting a harvest of like 10 of those, and it's like, what the fuck? What do you?
Our 2 100-foot rows full of peppers like that.
Yeah.
Whereas a gallon bag's about a pound. Just throw them in the freezer. What's we throw
It's
in
like
the freezer?
you gotta keep dogs and small children away from that row because just walking by you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you don't break the skin open, you can pick them bare. I pick them barehanded, but like if I'm like dealing with them more, we're trying to pop the tops off them or something.
Then you want to wear
I'm
gloves.
gloved up.
Yeah.
You can even then you start smelling them.
Gloved
You're like,
and goggled too.
Yeah,
Goggled up.
It's crazy thing is like if it gets like airborne, something you start crushing them or something, it could get on your skin anywhere and it start burning you.
Oh yeah, big time.
The capsaicin's dangerous.
Definitely don't use a bathroom.
True story.
I've been there.
True story.
3 hours later, you're still feeling it.
I did that with that habanero sauce.
You know, it's crazy.
done,
Chickens can eat all those hot peppers and it bother
All
them.
birds.
Because
All
birds
birds
don't
can.
have sensors.
They can't taste the capsaicin.
Yeah, they don't have the capsaicin. Yeah.
But so Dan Barber, they did an experiment. They had these peppers that are like super high, like red.
You're talking
content.
about red yolks.
Yep, they had streaks of like the orange peppers and had streaks of red yolks in them. Yeah,
Red yolks. Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
That is cool.
How would that freak you out? You're like, what's in my egg? You know.
I would be like,
If you knew what it was, it'd be great. But if you just did this, somebody like, oh, here's a runny
I would
yolk.
think that the chicken had an embolism or something. I'd be
So
like,
wait, are the eggs spicier? Do you
No,
think?
no.
Mm-mm.
You don't think
It's color.
don't think you could force feed a chicken enough peppers to make a spicy egg?
No, because
that's what he did. Yeah.
They put cayenne in.
I've heard of
for
that.
the help of the yolk coloring. And a lot of those commercial guys do that.
That makes them produce more.
All it does is color.
Just color.
It's color.
Well,
The
actually,
yellow
I
or
mean, that's what
orange or yolks.
capsaicin is. Capsaicin is a natural response of that plant only wants to get, well, I say wants to, plants don't have consciousness, but that plant only wants to get eaten by birds because birds give it the best seed distribution. So it built up this capsaicin to be like everybody else. Like a bear looks at it and is bright, and a bear's gonna be like, hell yeah, dog, I want to eat that because I like blueberries, so I know these peppers are gonna be good and it eats them. It's like, what? And it just, bear's never gonna eat it again, just birds. So it's a weird thing that peppers have done. All plants,
everything.
Everything that's tasty is a plant has developed that way to like kill something else. You know what I mean? And we're just eating that. And
Tell
like,
what-
that's what's so tasty.
Have you seen Botany of Desire? Michael Pollan's book?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, it's Botany of Desire. So he goes into that. Why apples when we are, like the history of how they got around. Apples, flower. I forget what there's 5 things he goes through in the little series. I think it was on Netflix for a while, but Botany of Desire.
I've never, that sounds
He
awesome.
goes into like how plants have evolved and like like Johnny Appleseed spreading apples was because of taking property and stuff, but how things have evolved naturally.
Yeah.
Or
Well, it's like back in the day, like the reason that wheat evolved so quickly and we were so tied to it is because we could eat it and poop it out. It had a strong enough shell that it could make it through our digestive system. So wherever our latrine or whatever we used was, wheat would grow there.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the theory anyway.
His thing is like, have we exploited plants or they exploited us for their benefit?
It's a mutual exploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but check it out. It's Botany of Desire. It's a pretty little watch if you're into like food history and learning that kind of like.
Oh, I definitely am.
stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what would be the easiest way for someone to grow something in their garden, like in their backyard with you're a farmer, you know what I mean? So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I kind of want to grow some mint or some wild onions or something, but they have absolutely no experience.
Pots, raised beds a little bit, depends how much room you have. You can do a lot of stuff in container gardening. I know Deseret at Mid-County Victory Garden has a great little spiel on growing container gardens for your backyard in 5-gallon buckets.
Oh,
You don't have room, you can bring stuff in and out. Raised beds another way because we're so flat. You don't have to worry about the beds getting oversaturated and or flooding. As we deal with around here.
Yeah.
Like something like mint it's easy to grow. You put it in a container, it's going to grow in your windowsill. But it depends on the product. I mean, it's seasonal in the things like tomatoes. People try and plant tomatoes in June and July around here. They'll grow, but you're not going to get any fruit on them.
Right.
So go to your local feed store, Mid-County Farm and Feed. We go to a lot. That's my guys over there, David. Any of the crew there can definitely direct you in the right direction.
Is there a good feed store in Beaumont?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Huh.
Oh, that's a good question.
Calling y'all out.
It's got to be, right?
Huh?
I'm sure there's one.
Matt grew up going to
I
the
don't
feed
know
store
about
in
it. He don't know
Salisbury, so I
about
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to take that drive. Got to go out there.
Just gotta go to Mid-County.
Got to go to Mid-County.
Mid-County, Miss Donna in the greenhouse out there, they can definitely tell you like how to put things and do that on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
What we do is definitely more commercial.
Right,
in that
right.
sense, we're trying to get productivity out of our plants, and we're growing 100-foot beds of lettuce.
Yeah,
our greenhouses have in 2 greenhouses we run 1,000 tomato plants.
God.
And wait, what? In 2 greenhouses, you're going.
We have that one. So we have a company that grafts our tomatoes for us. So grafting the tomatoes puts a stronger root base on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps with disease in the soil, nematodes, anything like that. But it makes it more productive plants. So we're getting higher yields.
And you're getting like multiple
Yes.
harvests off one plant, right?
Yeah, so we grow indeterminate tomatoes. So we do what they call lower and lean method. So we run up a string, a single leader in the house, and then we're done. The vines of like our red slicers will be 30 plus feet long.
Oh, wow.
But the roof where they're hanging from, the strings is only like 8 feet. So we just kind of keep lowering like a big circle.
Yeah.
They get in a big like what you see in a big commercial greenhouse. We do the exact same thing, but in the soil. When we feed them, we use Microlife. I got a 55-gallon drum of their ocean harvest. We buy it by bulk, you know.
Right.
So it gets pumped in there every 3 or 4 days. We drip microfeed them.
Was it on a timer or something like that?
We just have a bucket. When we drip feed, so that way you just drip tape right at the roots of the plants.
Yeah.
What they need. We lower and lean, so we trim the bottom plants, and then the tops. But every week they put on 3 new tops, come on 3 new branches, and then the bottom. So it's like branch, fruit, branch, fruit. So we go through and trim. So if you look like it's like a wall of tomatoes hanging through there.
That sounds like you're harvesting a lot of tomatoes.
At peak, we push over 1,000 pounds a week of tomatoes.
How do you sell that many tomatoes?
There's that many people who love our tomatoes.
Do you have like a newsletter, an email newsletter?
No,
It's like it's
online.
ready?
When people literally starting out March, people like, get your tomatoes ready. You get your tomatoes ready, and we're like,
Do they come
They're
by?
getting there.
They come
So
by the
it's-
stand.
yeah. So
okay,
this year with
yeah.
the farm stand, we open our farm stand Thursdays and Fridays 2 to 7, and Saturday 1 to 4. Then we also have the Walmart Farmers Market.
Mhm.
And if they don't sell, they start going bad. We cook in a pot, cook them down. That's how I make our famous tomato basil soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, with
So
that,
wait, are you all selling to a lot of restaurants, or is it just all selling to people?
It's direct. 95% of our
Direct
is
consumer.
direct
huh?
consumer. Yeah.
wow.
No shit.
Yeah.
Thousands of pounds a week.
Of tomatoes. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're burning
God.
through them.
It's incredible. It's like,
But you don't think like one of a tomato is a half pound.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
the
big
biggest tomato I
estimate,
think we grew was 1.5 pounds. So it's
Jeez.
like
yeah. There you go.
funny story. So some of the Cherokees will grow the purple cherry. It was like almost a 2-pounder. It was so heavy you could pick it up. You felt it like giving under your weight, like its own
Oh
weight.
yeah.
So I went in there, and my dad has a bowl.
How does that not even just fall off the vine?
It's
on its
remember
own?
that's the king fruit, the first one that puts on. They always trim the biggest fruit. So normally you trim that first set of flowers to keep the king fruits away, so it puts more nutrients,
Okay.
or more
Makes
evenly
sense.
consistent
King
tomatoes.
fruit, huh?
Yeah, the first flowering fruit is the king fruit. They call it. It takes for everything for everybody else.
The plant pushes all of its resources
first
into that.
flowering, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So their trucks backed up the farmer's market right there, and Dad had it behind so people could see it, you know. Because we try the heirlooms especially, we don't want people to handle them because if you handle a tomato, we tell people don't squeeze it to our tomatoes.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not store bought, they're not gassed. Like the color will tell you when they're ripe.
Yeah.
Especially with the heirlooms, you know. I show people, look, you know, it was nice this year with COVID, people
They're
couldn't
not
handle it.
gassed. What does that mean?
So they gas them with like an ethylene to cause them to ripen faster in the stores. So you get these rock hard tomatoes that are red,
yeah.
which is not natural at all.
Is that why that's why I don't trust some tomatoes.
Exactly. That's
why I
what everyone does at the
trust
store. They're over there like squeezing them, but every time you
Yeah.
squeeze a tomato, you bruise it.
You bruise it. Yeah.
Especially with the heirlooms are worse about that because it's thinner skins.
Mhm.
So this behind on the bed of the truck at the time, and it's blocked off. The guy walked around the back before the market even started, and he picked it up, was like squeezing it, and Dad turned around and yelled at him. And apparently, it said the whole market stopped and looked like
the
what was going
farmer's
on.
market?
At the farmer's market. It was like a 2-pounder, so it's like that was an $8 tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, I want to buy it. And Dad's like, no, it's still, you're going, no, you're not going to come back and buy it. You squeeze it and you kind of, but the guy came back and bought the tomato though.
good.
But it was like, he walked around and picked it up. I'm like, they're trying to manhandle him. Like, you know, like, it's kind of a point where we educate them. Like,
Yeah.
we have the tomatoes set up. It's as long as this table here, you know, tons of them sitting there, racks on rack, you know, bread racks full of tomatoes, holds about 25 pounds in each one.
Yeah.
You know, it's no problem for some little lady come and get 10 pounds of our tomatoes and not think twice about it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. You know, we have had to educate the consumers on what it is. What do you do with it? When's it available? That's the biggest thing. Has been our biggest mission.
seasonality.
Is telling people what it is, when we're having, what we do with it, what to do with it. Like the other day, we've turned on so many people onto roasting radishes. You didn't know they thought you think eat them with your tacos or it's raw. I don't like radishes. Well,
Or
take
in a
them
salad,
home.
you know.
We've
yeah.
given to people before, like some of our bigger watermelon radishes or the purple daikons. Take it home, cut it up, roast it with your
You
vegetables.
guys grow daikons?
Yeah, they grow
Okay.
daikon.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, we got watermelon radishes. We got black radishes, which are really spicy. If you like spicy radishes, you like the black radishes.
Are the
Purple
radishes the ones that kind of look like carrots?
Yeah, if you
They're long
look at like a
and-
big
They
ass,
can be.
fat ass carrot.
Daikon. Well, so there's multiple daikons.
Oh,
out there.
the radishes are the big guys.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, daikons can get really big.
Because I think
there's shorter
we
ones.
got some. I thought they were carrots from you, but one of them was like really pale, and it
Yeah,
smelled
there's-
like lemon.
There's multiple colored carrots out there
It smelled
too.
like lemon.
Sounds like a parsnip.
Maybe it was a parsnip.
I don't have parsnips.
Yeah, that sounds like a parsnip.
I got it from this guy. So.
Oh, never mind.
No, remember the white carrots when we had the rainbow carrots? Yeah. So carrots out there that you get white to purple to red, orange, yellow. So it's just the original carrots weren't orange; they were whitish.
Mm-hmm.
If they're gonna
exploit root.
White to yellow to orange, they kind of exploited those colors through traditional seed breeding practices.
Same thing with corn.
Commercialization, yeah.
Well, y'all want to take a little break, regroup?
Sure.
And we'll do this thing some more.
Okay.
You are listening to A to Z Podcast. A to Z Podcast Studios are funded in part by patrons on Patreon. If you would like to become a patron, visit patreon.com/A to Z Beaumont. That's A to Z BMT. Well, all right.
All right, you know what that sound means? It's the middle of the episode, and it's it's time for us to take a break and highlight some things going on in your area.
Yep, and this upcoming weekend, we have Art Taco. It is a new outdoor socially distanced festival. It's going to be this Saturday, the 6th, from 11 to 7. They're going to have arts, crafts, taco, and beers.
That's right. Tacos, beer, arts. What's left? What do you want?
They're going to have music. Music's going to be playing on Crockett Street again. And all the crafts, they're going to have like little crafts for the kids to do. So you have things for your kids to do.
And those are all going to be free.
And it's free. It's completely open to the public. You can walk out there and look at it. They also are going to be unveiling a selfie spot that's going to stay in that area in between the Art Museum and the Energy Museum. I think it's going to be staying there for like the entire week of Restaurant Week.
That's right.
So you get to go and see like new art and art vendors and things to do. Plus, for $10, you can get 4 tacos and 8 beer samples.
That's right. It's going to be a punch card. Only $10, guys. 4 tacos? Come on, you can't even get that deal if you just go to the...
Rumor has it you're going to have Tacos La Bamba down there, as well as many others.
That's right. So, you got to support local right now. It's very trying times. And look, check this out, guys. You guys always talk about how Beaumont's boring. Well, the city's trying. You know what I mean? They're really showing out. They're doing these fun things like Art Taco. And make sure that you let them know that it's appreciated. Make sure that you let them know that it's safe to keep doing these, and go out and support them. You know, spend $10 on 4 tacos. That's financially responsible.
Yeah. So if you want more information on that, just show up downtown on Saturday from 11 to 7. Or you can go to visitbeaumonttexas.com and look up their restaurant week. They have all the other vendors that are going to be going around town and all the different specials and deals that you can get. But this is going to be a nice little kickoff to it. Tacos and beer this Saturday.
That's right.
Let's go.
It's hard because you have to
That's one of the more successful restaurants.
You have to make something that your customers are going to want, that they're going to eat. But then if you want to make something that you want to serve, you have to convince them that they want to eat it. You know, it's
if I was opening a restaurant, I wish our farm was closer to Mid-County, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the Wanda's here, man. It's just the West End. Beaumont doesn't support itself. We look at the high schools, look at Nederland and P&G. The support from the community for their schools, any business, look at the Avenue, look at Mid-County Feed, look at the brewery there. People support their own there.
Well, there's a centralization.
Very much
you know,
so.
and there is a, it's smaller, and then each one of those communities kind of have like a little bit of a competitiveness to themselves.
Exactly.
Like Port Neches and Nederland are very competitive with each other.
When Port Neches gets a good restaurant, Nederland's like, we need a good restaurant.
Exactly.
There's nothing. No, who competes with Beaumont? Port Arthur? No, it just doesn't happen.
And Beaumont's a chain restaurant town.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's like if you're going to open something in Beaumont, you have to open it on the West End, or no one goes.
Yeah, trust me. I used to have a food truck that was outside of a dance school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember sitting there, and even then, it's still like, oh yeah, we all the time. Our good customers, pretty much, our produce is so fresh. They come about every 2 weeks. It is nice.
It's a good beer.
They come about every 2 weeks because it lasts that long. Like, so we see them about every 2 weeks. They show up and get more stuff, and people don't cook as much as they used to. In the pandemic, they were buying more stuff. They didn't cook and wait for restaurants to open back up, but. This
has been a nice side effect of COVID.
Yeah,
a lot of people tried to learn how to cook.
A lot of people
are being more appreciative of good food.
People learn how to bake their own bread. You know what I mean? People are doing all these things at home, and even the produce at HEB is like you can see more people are in the produce aisle. Actually, more people are cooking now, and it's really nice.
It's a really good thing. You know, like we felt the effect a little bit because everyone had a garden this year. So all our tomatoes were like, not many people are buying as many because like, oh
Yeah.
I'm going to put 10 tomato plants in. I'm like, do you realize how many tomatoes will get off of a plant?
Yeah.
They're like, I got 6 squash plants, 12 lettuces, 10 tomatoes, and I'm like,
I grew 44. I started 44 pepper plants,
Yeah. See, I would.
and I gave 25 of them away, and then I took care of about 12 of them, and I was like, I'm sick of peppers.
You gave me a whole lot of peppers too.
yeah.
Just habaneros all the ass.
And that's what we see here with produce is like okra season. People are clamoring for okra. When it first comes in, there's zucchini, the squash, the beginning of the year. It's a bell curve every time. Tomatoes, we gotta get them. And it's like tomatoes are something that'll sell year round, regardless. You always want tomatoes.
such a versatile fruit, though.
It's the biggest crapshoot to grow in the fall around here.
Tomatoes?
It's the biggest crapshoot. Hurricane, early frost.
Yeah.
So you just people every year like I had a beautiful I had 3 rows of them this year, and then that frost
I can't ever grow them in the summer because they get too hot.
When do you
we,
start? When do you start tomatoes around here?
for the spring or the fall.
Can you do them both?
Yeah.
You can do
Middle
them
of
year
summer.
round?
The middle of summer is the worst time of year to grow anything around
too
here.
hot.
Because they
yeah.
get burnt.
If you're not, no, after they burn, the pollen dies at above about 75 at night. I think it is or 90 or some say 75 at night, some say 90 during the day. The pollen dies off. They have like fruit set and bloom set stuff, but
So the pollen doesn't fly anymore. After
it just
certain
dies
temperature.
off. Yeah, a certain temperature. A lot of plants like that. They go we get heat dormant plants in the middle of summertime. Eggplants, all the pepper family, or not pepper family, but the nightshade family, peppers, eggplants, tomatoes. So as soon as it starts cooling off there in September, if they're growing, boom, you got fruit again.
Yeah.
Same with our eggplant, did the same. So the middle eggplant this year grew beautifully in the spring. We put them at the same time as tomatoes. About July, we cut them back because they were huge plants. We cut them back, let them regrow. And they grew through the summertime, no flowering. All of a sudden, about September, it cooled off. It started cooling off. Boom, they were flowering.
See, that
again.
makes sense because mine started fruiting earlier, or in May or June, maybe June or July, and then they stopped for a while.
Yep.
And then whenever it started getting cool, they started putting them out.
So
again.
peppers are crazy. You can grow peppers do better on their second year.
Well, I got my habanero and my jalapeno are going to live
Over
They live
winter,
through that
over winter them.
freeze, So
Yeah. So you can cut them back to like 18 inches, 2
Just
feet
cut
tall.
'em back all
cut
the
them
way?
back. Like,
Okay.
Cut them back to about 2
Yeah,
feet tall
the
or
stem
so.
gets all barky and hard.
And
Yeah,
they'll kind of go semi-dormant, but they'll start regrowing. So if you keep them in like a warmer patio or somewhere, they'll start to regrow. But as soon as it warms February, you're having fruit instantly.
No shit.
Yeah. So peppers, because they have the root zone established, so it's kind of like it just takes they get better established, and then that spring. So
They just kind of they go to sleep.
yeah.
just
So
go to sleep.
we've had beautiful peppers, and like last year we had some we overwintered. We did that. Well, the biggest deal was dealing with like the powdery mildew and stuff on them. But through the wintertime, it's just humid and still and things. The other factors you deal with in a greenhouse and then growing stuff the wintertime,
It's all dank in there. And, yeah.
even with fans, it's just part of our climate down here.
I'm guessing like things would get trapped in there, like stuff you don't want trapped in there.
We have airflow. It's just growing in a greenhouse. Yeah, you get very humid, so you have to have the airflow through there. We have them screened off to keep the bigger bugs out, but aphids can be huge and white flies. So, but we release green lacewings. They're helped with that.
Is that a big part of your guys' strategy? Is
IPM pest management program. There's also 2 products
like
called
ladybugs and stuff.
Ladybugs. So the crazy thing about ladybugs this year with the fires in California last year, no one could source ladybugs because they had never been able to successfully, really captively breed ladybugs. So they go out in the Sierra Nevadas in the wintertime and catch ladybugs.
That's where you see where there are masses of them on the trees.
They catch them and stuff like that, and then that's where they sell them off. But this year with the fire, it killed tons of them.
Wild caught ladybugs. Huh?
So they come from. So, but down here, ladybugs are flighty.
Yeah.
So you put them in there, like our greenhouse are kind of screen, but they want to go wherever. With the green lacewings, they stay a little closer. So the larvae of the green lacewings eat the aphids and white flies and thrips and stuff like that, and the adults feed on pollen. So they're super easy. You can get like 10,000 for like $20 shipped to you. Yeah. You spread them out and whatever.
It's cheaper than ladybugs.
Yeah.
I don't want to do praying mantises just because they look cool.
I got some. They're really cool. I see them every now and then still. Yeah.
They're just like walking.
You put them in
around.
there, but they just
you
get like
buy a little pod.
bigger.
It's a little bitty pod you buy and you hang them.
Yeah.
You never know when they they could have hatched out. You're like, it looks like they've done nothing, but all of a
Because
sudden
they're really small.
Yeah.
super small. And
What are they eating? They're eating like
Aphids?
everything.
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I almost
Like
got
anything that lands on that leaf, they're like,
Yeah,
Hey,
I
what's
mean they're
up,
pretty
man?
aggressive. Yeah, there's videos of them eating lizards.
They're super predators. Yeah.
lizards.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
video of it attacking like a chameleon. I mean, it was a big one, but it attacked this little salamander or
crazy.
something.
Praying mantises are super predators.
Yeah. So what's the sustainability of using something like that instead of pesticides?
It's easy. It does the work for me. I go
Yeah.
out there and hang the little cards that have the little green lacewing eggs on the plants.
Mhm.
And like we've had some, I just ordered some more loose ones we're going to put out because aphids love Asian style greens.
Okay. Yeah.
So like in the wintertime, our collards and kales, ours are so big and tender because they're in the greenhouses. But there's aphids It's less money too. So they get a little population established.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go through like a week, and they're wiped out. You're like, where'd they go? Without even knowing it. So it's a 24/7 working. And if we go through and say you spray something like some of insecticide for aphids or whatever, like a neem oil or anything, you still have to go make sure it gets on them. You get around this time, and one time I put them out. So we do it as preventative. Just once a month, we put them out green lacewings.
Just let them live there. Yeah.
And they handle the heat. So ladybugs don't handle the heat like lacewings will. So we put the green lacewings out, and it's preventative. It does the work for us, and it keeps any kind of population under control. It's just staying ahead of it.
So then why don't like larger scale farms, like giant commercial large scale farms, why don't they use stuff like that?
It depends. Like, so outside, this is more of an inside technique.
Okay.
So for greenhouses, so in a greenhouse, by the time you realize something is there, disease or pest wise, you're behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're constantly scouting, we're constantly looking as we're harvesting, seeing if I may see a few here, I need to make sure. So it's what they call an integrated pest management program. So even big farms have that. It just depends on what you're looking for on that. Bigger scale, they'll have a boom sprayer. It's easier because if you have a 500 acre field, how many does that take versus me having, greenhouses that you release them in there. So it's a little bit different in the open field versus greenhouse pressure, what you're dealing with. Yeah.
You'd need 1 million of them.
So open field, like they deal with more caterpillar, stuff like that. So you got BT and spinosad or spinosad. There's quite a bit on the organic market now. Neem oil products. You can only, at the end of the day, as a farmer, you can only fight Mother Nature so much.
Yeah.
You got to. That's what the beneficials come into.
You got all kinds. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of things you deal with. Just kind of go with it.
Calculate that too. Also, like your estimated yield has to calculate for all that loss. I'm sure.
It's not never that much loss as you think. The biggest loss would be like the fall tomatoes I had were all a wash. One, the storms came through. So we had the roofs up. We took before Laura came through, we stripped all the plastic off our greenhouses. So we have 5.
Yeah.
Every bit of plastic came down because it's I lose $1,000 of plastic per house or I lose a $10,000 greenhouse.
Yeah.
Right.
We just finished one in the spring, so it was like I knew we were gonna have to take them off eventually. And so
you just take it down a frame. So
take down straight frame, let the wind blow through it. And it was worse with Delta than it was for Laura. But we didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
We put the chickens underneath the barn, and it was just we were prepping for 3 days for the worst.
That's rough.
It is. It was a lot, but it's crazy with the hurricanes. Is like it's actually not a great time of year for growing stuff because you're getting off the summertime when it's hot.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of stuff growing. So you're kind of at a transition
Not a lot of
period in the
stuff
fall.
like harvesting.
Yeah. Like by that time
growing
we had all of our broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower on the ground. They got beat up so bad. We probably had about 60 broccoli snapped off. Quite a bit of the cauliflower drowned just because the lower part of the field where it was at outside. We had backups to replant them with for our next session, but it's just part of farming out here. Is I go, well, like last year with the mildew came, the farm was a foot of water across the whole farm.
Yeah.
And our pole barn's 2 feet above the roads. It was 6 inches from getting in that.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, we had green beans in there, and we had the last of the cucumbers are growing in the greenhouses, and we had the broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage in there. And all those survived, but the green beans and cucumbers just drowned. But literally, we stripped the houses, went through the house. A guy was working this time named Zeph went through, and we stripped the house. He stripped the houses out when we were mucking out our house. And 3 weeks later, we had leafy greens. That's the fastest I can grow any crop is 3 weeks, period.
Yeah.
With greens,
Like your little French breakfast radishes or leafy greens, 3 to 4 weeks. And but other than that, it's like, well, that didn't work. That's another 90 days before we can get it again. That's one thing about farming is taught is it teaches you patience.
Yeah.
And work with Mother Nature, because at the end of the day, I don't care what anyone says, global warming, whatever you're for or against, she's going to win.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I don't care what you do or try and help or whatever. Like when everyone went to lockdown, look how much Beijing and all these places cleared up. Like she's got a contingency plan. She's in the long-term game. I don't care what you do now. She's going to win out and make a comeback unless you just somehow nuke it completely. But that's always an option, right? They say.
How long have you been on the farm?
I came back in 2014 from Houston.
2014?
Yeah, 2014.
Have you noticed a difference in the seasons changing a little bit, like from that point? I mean, it's a really small sample.
I mean, you've probably been farming for a while, huh?
But yeah.
Well, the farm started in 2011 when I was.
People kind of stopped saying global warming. It's just like climate change.
But climate's always changing, though. It's just it's the thing with that is if you look at it historically, we've only been recording climate data for less than 200 years. So the sample
we can back record it due to events like volcanic events, things like that.
But the sample is some of it's theoretical, some of it's the Earth's always changing. It's every year. This is the most extreme ever. But what about 10 years ago when we had this and this happened? Everyone we're only in the moment thinking about what's happening now.
Right.
Not people forget what happened 50 years ago.
I mean, downtown Beaumont flooded in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot of pictures of it.
Well, all of those crazy events that usually happen, there's a source for it, and it's usually like geological. Like a lot of these crazy, there was the tiny ice age that happened in like the 1360s in Europe, where it was like 10 years of winter.
Yeah,
that happened because of a super volcano that erupted.
You want to hear something really crazy?
I mean?
So there's some theories in the meteorological community. A friend of mine was telling me about that. Our weather here is more extreme because of Houston's heat thermal signature.
Yeah.
Wow,
So-
that makes sense.
We're getting like
Houston
some vortex winds off of it.
Well, it's just the way when storms come across Houston, Houston's a giant concrete block.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
So it's, and I
radiating
tell people it's
heat,
always 5 degrees warmer than we are. So
Yeah.
5 degrees in a storm that's a lot of heat.
Yeah.
So the storms come
And heat
across,
pushes it-
they're
heat-
gaining intensity.
Yeah, heat equals energy. Like it's
Yeah, exactly.
really-
So when Imelda came across Houston and stuff, it just picked up a ton of energy. And this when it finally got to us, it slowed down and died a little bit and sat.
Mm-hmm.
So it got extra energy it would never gotten naturally. That's a theory of like
Yeah,
that Houston's a
that's
heat sink
interesting.
for a lot of
Yeah,
our weather, and we're
that's interesting.
just far enough away
Yeah.
that it loses enough energy and kind of stalls out on us.
yeah.
I was like, that's kind of a weird, but could be possibly,
Well, I mean, Harvey was whenever they found out that, hey, if you build residential areas in floodplains, you're gonna flood
Get
your
outta
city.
here.
we
outta
shouldn't
here.
build a coastal barrier islands. Novel.
Yeah,
Galveston, 1908.
yeah. No, it's 1901.
Was it 01? Whatever.
01, yeah.
No.
Still, it
Couple
was bad.
hundred Yeah.
It was
Great
bad.
storm. Yeah.
It was bad.
And that's another thing about these old storms. Like the worst area we hit during that was actually like Sabine Pass. But a lot of times they don't know the storm happened till after the storm happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So technically the recorders of these massive hurricanes we're having now, we know about them after they've happened. They didn't know it was kind of storm was coming. The day before it's calm as can be. They don't
Right.
know.
Well, these storms are becoming more numerous.
I mean, we had 30 this year.
They are becoming more numerous. This is like the stupidest storm
We went
year
to the
all
Greek
time.
alphabet. We almost maxed out the Greek alphabet.
Of all time.
Well, we know that
yeah.
there's only the letters or the names are only like I think there's 18 names. So it's not they don't use like an X name or some letters they don't use.
What's kind of sad though is there's more storms because they're counting them.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the
If we-
joke
if
I
we-
made,
yeah.
but it's like that
Well-
is one thing they did say is that we have the ability to actually see if they are a hurricane or not.
Yeah.
Well, they've been counting for a long time. We've
Yeah.
had satellites for a
I know,
very,
but
very, very
not
long
Since
time.
to the
50s,
level
yeah.
that we have now though.
Yeah.
We are
been counting storms
more.
for a very
I
long
know,
time.
but we are
Yeah.
more able to
sure.
quantify them.
Sure.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, they quantify.
There's more that qualify.
yeah,
to be
like
hurricanes.
little tropical depressions and everything that will become storms.
They'd
yeah.
never do anything may not have named
Right,
10
right,
years ago.
right.
Yeah.
Like, was it Greg and the guys over at Channel 6 were saying, like, they can predict the path, the intensity is something they can never nail down.
Right.
Like-
yeah.
Like, Laura looks to be this big, heavy storm, and I was like, it's like nothing that came in.
Yeah.
Like, they can only get their educated guess the best they can of what it's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, path is one thing they said, but intensity is one thing they can't.
Nature's gonna win, man.
I'm telling you, no,
Nature's gonna win.
go with her, don't know not against her sometimes.
Yeah. You ever? I mean, you're a modern farmer. You ever read like the old Farmer's Almanac, stuff like that? You know,
DD6
Yeah.
or DD7. No, what is it?
tells you what time of the year to get a certain haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did it really have haircuts in there?
They talk about planting with the moon. Some people
Playing
do that
with the
stuff,
moons,
but
all that
it's
stuff,
like
yeah.
if it's a full moon, plant above the ground. If it's like whatever, plant below. Wax or waning moons, for the water tables, and I'm sure there's some truth to some of that. But it's like I don't have time to plant. I need to. This is my schedule of planting. This is what's going there. I have drip irrigation. I have overhead. I'm not worried about the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things.
Today we're planting radishes. I don't care what the almanac says. Throw it away.
Nah, man, you got to wait for that waxing moon, man. I'm telling you.
Tell
Come
you
on.
what, man,
I'll tell you what.
Are there any misconceptions about modern farmers that you could, I guess, you come across at all?
People don't think we're business people.
They
Farmers
they
in
don't think
general
you
are
are.
some of the best
You have to
business
be
people.
shrewd. Yeah.
There's so many variables. We lose a whole crop. Like say I
Yeah.
lost a greenhouse full of tomatoes,
Yeah.
and I'm banking on a gross of $30,000 off these tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money I just lost out on.
Yeah.
So the margin of error for some things is very small in a sense.
It takes a lot of money to grow these
Yeah.
Oh
things.
yeah, the water,
And it's all that up front. Like literally everything's up front and you have to bank on a
Nutrients, all
harvest.
We
you
just
know?
started
Yeah.
growing. We're going to grow flowers this year. Something different to offer.
Flowers?
Flowers. Yeah.
Ornamental. Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up. Here's a bouquet.
That's such a weird, like, fleeting thing that people pay for. Like you're playing for
But they
something.
do
that
They'll
pay
give me
for it.
$15 for a bouquet before they give you $3 for a bag of lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, that's great.
We're going to do a sunflower field this year, just get people out to the farm. Ag tourism's huge for small farms.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh yeah. So you're talking about people coming and taking selfies with the sunflowers.
Yeah, photographers come out. We set up like an appointment where they can come out. And
come on,
not right now. We don't have a farm
look
stand,
at the bluebonnet bloom. When
Yeah, people
happens,
standing in a ditch on the side of I-10.
Exactly.
just taking pictures.
I've got 8 types of sunflowers. You didn't know there's that many different types of sunflowers.
I didn't know there was that many
multiple
types of sunflowers.
colors. We got like right now we've got snapdragon stock. I got 2 types of eucalyptus. We probably got 10 different types of flowers started.
Now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
For those, I got a couple of different grasses for decorative ornamental stuff. So I'm in like $500 for seeds for flowers, and I haven't even sold one yet.
Yeah.
And then you get into bulbs of growing flowers. That's a whole nother ball game. And you're paying 50 cents a bulb for a tulip kind of thing.
Right.
Bulbs, yeah.
Oh, because tulips don't grow from seeds.
Yeah.
No, they grow from bulbs. Huh.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things. It's like I never want to really grow flowers. I say I'm the food guy. I love food. Going to culinary school and all this, but you got to do what you got to do. I mean, that's why a lot of small farms do ag tours, and they have Airbnb on their farm. They do events.
They'll put little cabins out there,
and you have to, and you got to be versatile, and you have to just go with the flow, man. Like I would have never thought about putting an Airbnb on a farm.
Yeah, that's what I'd rather have 10 $100 sources versus 1,000.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we sell Wild Texas beef. We sell Lone Star Sustainable chicken. We were bringing in froyo from the yogurt spot for a while. During the summertime, this versatile. I got Harvest Grain Mills rice from Anahuac, certified
I've
organic.
been seeing that. I want to get some of this.
It's good.
It's good.
So they got the Carolina Gold, which everyone knows, heard of, but then they have the Charleston, which they developed here in Beaumont. He's shorter, and they bred in some aromatics into it. Man, it's got nice.
Kind of like a basmati kind of thing.
Rice?
Yeah, Carolina Gold rice is like the famous heirloom rice, like Sean Brock.
I don't know what y'all are talking about right now.
The long grain rice, delicious.
Oh,
it's organic rice.
Yeah, they grow it over on the preserve over in Anahuac. Mr. Wilcox does. Yeah.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
We need to go
to Donna's farm. So.
Yeah, man.
I guess we do. Yeah.
So we're the only people in the area that carry it. Rachel Wilson told me about it. She was carrying it with the Wild Art Texas. She was, I was like, something else to offer. The more I can kind of offer people, the more chance they'll come to us. Like,
right.
I make Christmas wreaths this year.
Oh, wow.
I learned how to make Christmas wreaths. I got glitter paint, taught myself how to tie bows.
Man's a hustler.
Hey,
you're hustling, man.
I see the way you make a little dollar, I'll make $1 on it,
Yeah.
I mean, we were a little late this year getting started on it, but it was something new to offer, and people enjoyed seeing it. And
do you have, talking about like all these like modern ways of revenue and things like that and how you're doing it, a lot of people are doing like food-based subscriptions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you thought about doing that at all? Maybe
we did that for the CSA model for a while. It doesn't work here.
It doesn't work?
It's that model works on areas.
You get a box and you get what you get. You know what I mean? Like a $25 a week box or whatever.
We had a guy buy in one time when we did this probably 3 years ago, and he never showed up the whole time, prepaid and everything.
That's fine. It
was money, but I still got time and labor involved in that box too.
Yeah.
So we had to give it away to whatever. Or people get the box and go, "What do I do with the beets in here?" Or they don't like something or this or that. And so for our people are still used to go to the grocery store and get what they want. So that's what the
maybe you would have to just put delivery in.
So when we started the drive-through, it was slammed. We were slammed with that, and we started doing farm box freight. It was like a CSA model, but we could pick it up at the farm, or when Gather was open, we had it there. But people want to be able to come up and pick up their things, so that's why we kind of got away from that. We're going to do something for the holidays here. People want to do like a holiday gift box they can give to people, but that's the biggest thing is like the big
shelf life too
is great. But the biggest thing you find with people is like they hate if you give them too much, they feel like they wasted their money if they don't cook at all. So it's not because then you get people. I've been out of town for 2 weeks. I don't get this and it's that. So there's always something. For some markets, it is phenomenal. People love the CSA model. It works great. But for our market, it's easy too on a farmer because I know I got 12 weeks. I got everything planned for those 12 weeks of what we're going to grow to put in these boxes. There's some farmers out there that are straight CSA subscription and they know exactly what they're growing. Well, with us and where we are, it's not our cup of tea. Like even when we grow stuff now, 1 week we'll sell a ton of collards, the next week we'll sell half that amount. We'll sell a ton of mustard greens, carrots. There's certain things that always sell.
Are you ever like on Facebook and like see like a new show gets on Netflix or something happens and like something happens in like the mainstream media or something and you know that you're going to have somebody hit you up for something involved with it? I don't know.
Oh yeah, like I said, when kale was a superfood.
Yeah.
It was we couldn't grow enough kale.
A lot of trends.
Trendy stuff hits food wise.
I heard cannabis is like on the come up. I heard
something about that sauce.
Do some industrial hemp out there, dog. Come on.
Here's the thing. The guy asked me about that. They're going to do some in Winnie. We have issues with that because we're so wet. So to tell people like Florida has the same humidity as we do. They're hot, they're dry, they're hot and humid. but they have sandy soils.
Mm-hmm.
We're a swampy
We
area.
do have sandy soil here.
You have to go-
Right?
There's certain areas, but I'm saying if you're along the coast, we're hot and humid. If you go north, it's sandy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
if
biggest
you
thing
go
down-
like Village Creek area, it's
beautiful.
real
Yeah,
sandy.
yeah.
It's real sandy.
I love
Yeah.
that. But like where ours on the coastal, these coastal plains area, you
Got
get some
that
sandy
gumbo.
ridges, the gumbo and stuff. It stays like that muggy South Louisiana. So with like hemp, people looked at what it's going to be wet more. You get a chance of it being not enough water, too much water, so you get plants that'll drown.
Mm-hmm.
You get a chance of disease setting in, like powdery mildew, funguses, stuff like that. So you may be spraying more because of that. Rice is a water-loving plant. It works down here.
Yeah.
Corn, not so much. You don't see corn.
Yeah.
Now, if you go south a little bit of Houston toward El Campo, you see cotton, you see corn, you see because it's a drier area, and you're not that far away. But it's like that's more Florida-esque, sandier soils. It drains better. We're here. We're just at that heavy clay where it stays wet and swamp. It's like a swampy.
Yeah.
Versus
A lot of fungus.
you get like west of Houston, it changes. But that they out of Houston and over, we're more Louisiana like. Unless you go north towards Silsbee area, it starts changing.
Yeah.
We're kind of that Louisiana-esque gumbo heavy soil. So
It's funny how much just the soil will change everything, and it's so close. You just go 30 miles away,
oh yeah,
north of Silsbee, Koontz area, Village Creek, sandy soil, pine trees, the pine fall down,
Yep.
very acidic soil. It's like the best place in the entire world to grow blueberries.
yeah.
It's like just
I
that
mean,
one little,
blackberries out there.
tiny little place
There were just wild blackberries growing
because of the
everywhere.
acidity of the soil, just the sameness, like it's a little more loamy. It's crazy. Yeah.
When there's a good sized blueberry farm. A friend of mine has in Winnie.
Really?
She's on like one of the little like microclimates, so higher areas. And
Yeah.
it works. She brings in pine straw though, just to help acidify a soil a little bit. We got like 300 blackberry plants I got to put out. But they'll do good because they'll handle our soils and stuff down here. Blackberries.
Blackberry's
will.
like a weed, man. You can't keep
Yeah,
blackberry.
I got thornless
away.
varieties too, so it'll be
Like
Thornless?
thornless?
Yeah, man.
Blackberry.
Oh, just smack it. And
Come on, that ain't right. You got to work for the blackberries.
Do y'all manually harvest everything?
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely a manual harvest.
Yeah. Well, that one for sure.
Yeah. Everything.
yeah.
So I do have a what they call a quick cut greens harvester. It's a
It's like
mechanical. So it's like
I think I saw that.
it's
You
a
put it over
handheld.
the bed.
No,
and
so this is handheld with the drill. It's
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
reciprocating blade on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a brush that spins like this in a basket. I can walk along and harvest a 100-foot bed of baby
Yeah.
greens in 10 minutes.
I've seen those. Yeah.
It's a handheld off the drill. So it just has developed a guy in Tennessee for small scale guys like us.
You found that and you were just like, fuck.
I mean, it's like a $500 or $600 tool.
Yeah.
But it pays for itself the first year.
Yeah.
I get new blades.
Yeah,
or
because
some
you just
little
put
things.
a drill on it. Like that's
The wall
motor,
drill
yeah.
I got, and we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your labor, I mean, shit. Like,
Yeah, I can go out there and harvest it in no time. Before it was like, don't cut your finger off, It's consistent, it's even cut. You get a nice sharp blade. And then we also have a paper pot transplanter. So it's a planting system. We use it for all our lettuces. We use it for beets, and we use it for spinach are our main three things we use it for. It's a niche product. So instead, as you go out there and transplanting by hand, it's a tray. Each tray holds 264 plants, and it's a matter of either 2, 4, or 6 inch spacing on them. So like the 2 inch would be like 45 feet long. The 4 inch is about 90 feet, which is about perfect for our 90-foot beds in our greenhouses. And the 6 inch is 120-ish. So it's just a matter of chase. It was developed actually in America in the turn of the century, but really taken off in Japan. Been brought back in for small scale farmers. And we take the trays. We fill it full of our potting mix, push it down a dibbler, and has a seed tray. We drop it and drops the seeds perfectly in there all at one time. So you can seed 10 trays in 10, real quick. And then when we start them, bottom water them, and then we take when they're ready, we put on you just walk backwards. It's a little cart kind of thing. And digs a furrow, lays it in there, and it buries it in one shot. So we can plant 100-foot 4 rows of lettuce in
it's fast.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
Versus an hour of you bending over and
Yeah.
and it's perfectly spaced at 4 inches. So we do our lettuce at 4 inch spacing. Some people do 6 and 8 but that way we get
bigger lettuces.
well, it's still a big head, but what we do is as they fill in, we go and cut every other one. So I get like a crop and a half off of one bed.
Oh, wow.
It gives me a little more yield
Okay, yeah.
off of one bed. So they're a little smaller the first time, but I mean,
That's
the
a
next
smart
they
little
fill out.
strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then the 4 inch chains work out perfectly to be, one pass. So we do 4 rows of lettuce in a bed. We do 5 rows of spinach, and then 3 to 4 on the beets. Just depends on how much beets are moving. Carrots, we direct seed. I have a seeder called a Jang. It's a precision seeder from Korea. It's got these roller wheels on there. It's like picks up one seed at a time, singulates them, the different size seeds. That's how I plant my baby greens. All of it's 5 rows. It's like a $1,500 seeder. But it's as fast as you can walk, it'll plant though.
yeah.
Every time.
Every
It's gonna
time.
pick up a
Perfect.
seed every time.
Yeah, it's just a wheel. They fall right onto it. It goes by this little brush knocking the extras off, and it goes up and drops. And you can change it up from, if you have 24 holes on there, we're down to 6. So you can go from, half-inch spacing to 5 or 6 inch spacing, depends what you're planting with it, But all my arugula, our Asian salad mix, I'll do beets. Not beets sometimes, just depends. But our bok choys, stuff like that, we'll direct seed with them. Radishes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
them
stuff.
perfectly.
Man, that's crazy.
That's how I get my early, like this year we put okra in the ground in early March, because I started and transplanted it out with the paper pot. Drug it out on the ground. It was a little slower, but once it was in, we have a little bit warmer climate out here up north, so we can get stuff a little bit sooner.
Right.
It's like that. It's time-saving labor. I don't have to bend over and transplant something if I have to.
Right.
Yeah, or pay anybody else to do it.
Yeah. Like I have a company that grafts our tomatoes for us out in Pennsylvania, a small husband-wife operation, I found out. But my time, so if I'm doing 1,000 tomato plants,
Right.
you need to start minimum of 1,000 grafts with the rootstock and 1,000 other ones. And then you have losses in this. And, grafting, it's not hard to do, but it's having the room and the time to sit there, because it's a very minuscule, tiny work.
So will they do it and then send them
They
to
ship
you?
them to me, yeah.
So you'll ship them?
No, they have the seeds. So I told them what I wanted. I bought some seeds they didn't have in house. I've worked with them for every year now. Last year we didn't, because we kind of didn't have. We had the money after I milled it and the house flooded, so the money kind of went elsewhere. But we could instantly see the difference between the non-grafted and the grafted plants, like on production level. We were probably
production.
We were probably down 20-25%.
What's the rootstock they're using?
So you can choose. There's a couple of. So there's the Maxi Fort. There's Estamino. We use a Dro 141T. So Maxi Fort's more northern, so it puts on more. So there's a vegetative state and there's a fruiting state.
Wait. Like, you're mixing? Grafting is you're mixing, matching different root systems.
Right.
With
It's like giving you my
tops.
legs so you're stronger.
Huh.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you'll.
Yeah, man.
You'll pick the seeds that you want, like the outcome that you want, but then they'll take a root from a stronger one and put it.
Yeah, same with citrus. They graft citrus.
Yeah, all the
I
citrus
knew
trees.
the citrus trees are grafted.
Watermelons are even grafted. They graft eggplants. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. You can graft peppers sometimes. Is it worth grafting?
Yeah.
So, but the only thing that grafting helps is...
Which usually in an orchard situation, it's definitely worth grafting,
Yeah. Certain trees, if you want to, and just kind of grafting, you create you can do cuttings, so you got a clone pretty much of that tree you want. Seeds can be a crapshoot sometimes. They do it with pecans. They do it with a lot of fruit stuff. Citrus is a big one. If you want like the flying dragon rootstock or the trifle, which is the shorter trees, which is hard to find now because of the citrus greening laws and stuff in the state. But yeah, like you get stuff from Saxon Bucknell. It's a big grafting place in Orange, big citrus producer. They're all grafted for better production.
Yeah.
So it's production. So like tomatoes, it doesn't help anything above the ground disease wise. So powdery mildew, tomato leaf mold, it doesn't help with any of that. But it's the soil base. So if there's nematodes, it helps. It feeds this plant better, so you get better. So with like the Maxi Fort,
So it's like putting bigger headers on a 350 or something.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
The Maxi Fort's a vegetative one, so it makes a bigger plant before it starts producing fruit, which I don't need.
Yeah.
Estamino's more for cherries. Cherries produce tons of fruit regardless, so you want to make them like sooner without. So the Dro 141TX I use is like a mix between those two, so we get fruiting a little bit sooner, say like 2 weeks or so, versus a Maxi Fort rootstock, which works good for us. Tons of research done in this for myself.
Yeah, no, I can
Tons
tell.
of Googling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it makes me wonder whenever you go to a restaurant and they give you your veggies, are you sitting there looking at them like, oh, that's what that is? And that's
I know when they're serving me, local squash in January around here.
Yeah.
It's not local.
Yeah.
I'll tell people that, I can tell you if it's where it's in. It's like, you say go to the grocery store. You look at the lettuce. I can look at it and tell you how old it is. Within a couple of days, I can tell how old it is.
Wow.
is it usually pretty old?
About a week.
Yeah.
Because you can tell the end starts turning brown.
It starts like oxidizing.
Yeah, that's about 5 to 7 days in.
Yeah.
The people buy our salad mix, and it's like, it lasted 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, because we cut it 24 hours ago.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't buy a salad mix from y'all and then immediately throw it unopened in the trash.
Same way with big eggs. You know what I mean? Like eggs. There's a difference in European and American eggs, right? So and there's refrigerated, and non-refrigerated, right?
Well, they say a week in. If you leave eggs on the counter, it's 1 week on the counter is like 3 weeks in the fridge. So it's a perishability of the eggs.
Right.
The albumin, the white gets a little thinner, the yolk gets a little flatter. I mean, there's nothing.
But the majority of the time of that egg has been spent in transport.
Yeah. A lot of times storage. I mean, you could get months in the eggs
It's like the
store
difference
that are
in
a
the
month
yard
old.
egg. You get you a yard egg from like your neighbor who's got eggs. You put it right on your counter. It's going to last a long time. You get it from the store. It's going to last less time because the majority of that egg was spent in transport.
Like the oldest our eggs are, if it's slow, is maybe 2 weeks, maybe, and even then you'd never know.
Yeah.
But legally, we have to store them in the refrigerator, and they're ungraded.
Legally, you have to. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is we have duck eggs, and duck eggs are unregulated in the state.
Yeah. Oh, you guys got
so you
duck
can
eggs?
sell
Duck eggs, yeah. Duck eggs are delicious. I would eat duck eggs over chicken eggs any day of the week.
Well, I need duck eggs for pastries.
Oh
you know
man,
what I'm saying?
telling you, you want to make
Pastry
a good
dough? Yeah.
Really?
lemon curd.
Duck egg
Fuck outta here,
pastry?
man.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck some chicken eggs.
Yeah.
You try to make a good pie crust?
Anything
Use duck
pastry.
eggs.
So it's like the thing with duck eggs, they have a higher yolk to white content.
Yeah.
They're bigger and they have a lot more fat. So you can add a fattier, more fat to it without adding oils
Yeah.
or butter. The yolk, but then the trick is the true baking is done by weight, not by volume.
Grams. And
So that's why you can do something like that. You weighed. So people say it's 2 large eggs. I said, well, tell people this duck egg's 3 ounces. Your normal chicken egg is 2.5.
Like 2 large eggs. What if you're using ostrich eggs, dog? Come on.
Exactly. So
last year for the season finale, or not, for the last season of Game of Thrones, man.
Was that last year?
I think it was last 2 years ago. I don't know, man.
Wow.
I don't know. But I made like some nice meat pies, and I had to go in. I had to get the duck eggs. I was like, "Oh, it's the best meat pie I ever had, man."
it adds a richness. It adds a richness to things.
It does,
that you
yeah,
I'm
wouldn't
pretty
get
sure I've
otherwise.
had a duck
It's
egg.
flakier.
It's
like
The yolks are thick.
Yeah.
Like they're real thick compared to like a chicken egg too. And the egg whites are clear.
y'all have ducks
Yeah,
to
we
get
got
the duck eggs.
Yeah, they're messy animals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my dad,
Very messy.
his midlife crisis was getting a bunch of chickens, and he
and
went,
a turkey.
I mean, he had like 40 of them at one time, and then dogs killed most of them, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it up, and then he got more, and then he started buying these guess or what is it these
Guineas?
boxes? No,
Oh.
he had guineas. He started buying these boxes where you get 50 eggs, and it's just like whatever you get is what you get.
Wow, Jesus.
And he got like a bunch
What?
of like a Transylvanian chicken and shit. He got a bunch of weird chickens, but he also got a bunch of ducks. And he was like, hey, I'm kind of excited to have the ducks. And like, I think he said like 2 weeks in, he was just like, fuck ducks.
It's like, go fly away. Just go, fly
and
away.
he just gave them away on Craigslist or something.
Yeah.
But now he has
What
a
a
big
crazy, what you get is what you get.
no, yeah, and they deliver them to you in a crate, and you
So
have 50.
it could be ducks,
I don't-
chickens,
they're
turkeys,
eggs,
guineas,
too.
pheasants,
They're eggs too.
quails.
Like you have to incubate them and do everything. But they're fertilized, but it's
That's crazy.
a weird thing.
What a weird
That's an
concept.
interesting-
And
Yeah.
now he has a turkey named Brother. Big old turkey.
Maybe a Christmas bird or something.
I
Man,
don't
I
think he's
going
going
to
to
eat
that
them,
one,
and
yeah.
he's like, nah.
The funny about
they're
ducks is you
pets.
can actually do that when you're done. You can eat them at any point.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of do it with chickens, but
You
they
can
call
eat
them
ducks at
stewing.
any point,
Yeah.
just any age, just cook them up.
It's actually a delicacy. So like the chickens,
An aged duck? Yeah.
even so inside, we used to harvest chickens and stuff. We used to raise them for meat birds back in the day. We found out it was too flat, and we just it's a whole other process, But now we let Lone
meat
Star
birds?
Sustainable Farm do them. Yeah, I just bring in Caleb's. Trust me, we did 700.
Well,
the
you have
first
to
year.
smell chicken shit all the time.
Yeah, it
that
was a
many
fun
chickens.
adventure when we
It's
did
rough,
it.
yeah.
Joel Salatin model was like, "We'll do this, and we'll sell this many a month." And then people are like, "I can only need one at a time." We're like, "Oh, chickens in the freezer forever."
And they're smaller too, though. Right?
Ours
Or
were
smaller
pushing
than
4.5,
what
5 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did. They were good sized birds. But yeah, it's crazy doing that kind of stuff. But so when you what they call evisceration, when you clean the inside of them out, we had some hens we did just to see it, and they have it's like chains of yolk. It's like a delicacy. You can get some of the Asian countries and stuff, or even China.
Chains
So
of
like when
yolk?
the egg, they have a chain. The chickens have a chain inside them of like yolk. So it's like goes from like, golf ball maybe size for our small whatever, like a normal yolk you see coming out of the because they're producing like one every other day or so.
So
right?
it's
yeah.
like yolks getting ready for an egg,
yeah.
and they're inside it.
And they'll store like the sperm from the rooster inside of them. They're all
it's
kind
like
of like ready
it's
to
like
go.
it's like a belt, like ammo belt. Or
Yeah,
something,
pretty
but
much of
what,
like eggs? Yolks. So it's crazy. You pull it out,
Cool.
it's just like straight yolks.
What is it called?
It's if you look at it, it's like a yolk chain for when that's how they keep producing inside of them. So you get to the end of like that chain where they start like a new one. You get like some random like small eggs or something. Yeah, or when they first start, you get like the little pullet eggs. Yeah, so they get their full system going. It's crazy inside. Like, you can find them in Houston every now and then if you know someone who. That's what some of the Asian people want them. Like
Right,
hens.
yeah.
Because like it's just straight like perfect globs of yolk. If you like the yolk on the egg, crazy stuff in the animal world.
A lot of the craze for things in Asia is just hype. It's just hype. Everything is just hype. Like they've been like using rhinoceros horn.
I was just
For
thinking about
1,000.
that.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it's hype. It doesn't
Tiger
matter.
blood or
like how
shark
much
fin.
better is that little yolk at the end versus? I mean, come on.
No, it's a little novelty thing. It's like
Right.
getting the
It's hype.
like Rachel Wilder gave me the beef cheeks. You don't find that very often.
It's like
you know,
three
or-
penis wine, man.
Or
you know?
even better, the best part of the chicken is like the oyster from the back, right? The cow has the same thing, the oyster. And she gave me
Wait.
the
The
oysters.
best part of the chicken
Is the oyster. Yeah,
on
it's
the
the-
back.
Yeah, it comes to the back of the chicken where the leg breaks apart. It's a little bit muscle about
little-
that big.
Little knot.
And it's like
Oh,
super
yeah.
tender, yeah. The cows have it too. And she's like, then when it gets ground up. So she can get, if you know, like knowing who your rancher is,
Yeah.
like knowing
What is it?
water,
What is that on the cows?
it's because they call it an oyster.
Is they call it the oyster?
Yeah, but you won't necessarily find it anywhere.
It's not prairie oysters. It's
No,
just
it's
the
not, it's not mountain oysters. No,
Yeah.
no mountain oysters.
The
But it's little cuts like that she has that you won't find at a grocery store unless you know your custom butcher, you know your
Yeah, yeah.
rancher
you
who's
can
raising this stuff.
request it. Yeah.
You could tell her, hey, look, I want this. She's like, all right, like we did beef navel, which is belly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're gonna do some of that and turn it to bacon. Like most people never think of doing something like that with it. It's
I mean, why not?
You know,
It's all abdomen.
it's not like
you know?
grain fed, so it's not super fatty.
Yeah.
You know, but there are things you can do with that.
That's the thing. Those kind of things is what I've been wanting to get more into, and I think a lot more people are being more open to those things. Like the whole thing I was saying earlier about making my own mayo. It's like I don't have to buy mayo anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I would much rather buy some pork belly and make my own bacon and have
Yeah.
have it stored than go and have to spend $10 on.
Also, just
the bacon.
slicing your own. You can get a slab of pork belly, and then you can slice the bacon as thick as you want.
Even better, get
Yeah.
the jowl.
You know,
The jowl's
Yeah.
a much better part of the pig.
Make
Like
bacon
more,
out of it.
Yeah, pork jowl, much better flavor to it.
Mhm.
We use more muscle.
yeah.
Mhm.
That would solve a lot of problems, man. If people really just put in just the slightest little bit more work instead of getting your bacon pre-sliced, you get a slab, you slice it yourself.
Or stop buying boneless, skinless
But,
chicken.
I mean, well, also that's a whole nother issue. People
Lazy.
don't want to.
They don't want to see.
They don't want to carve anything. They don't want to. They
There's
don't
a-
want to be reminded that
There's
they're
a
eating an
disconnect
animal.
of there's a disconnect of like this was an animal. It's like
Yeah.
I'll see it in a package wrap.
I know it's
a
terrible.
big disconnect.
It's terrible.
People ask all the time, your chickens have names? Yeah, I'm chicken 1, chicken 2, chicken 3. I'm not attached to them. You know, I know
No.
they have a purpose. They live a good life. You know, they move
Yeah.
on. You know,
People have that strange misconception too that
down my
like
belly.
that they people think there's a lot of cruelty involved with meat harvesting, and
Yeah.
it's like no, that is antithetical to what you're trying to do. If you are cruel to cows, you're not going to get a good product.
no, you stress
Like-
them out. They don't.
like,
yeah,
The better you are to your animals, the better they turn out. You know what I mean? If you give them good diet,
if you live a stress-free life, you're on the couch, you get fed all you
Stress-free.
want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're gonna
It's-
be relaxed.
Is that the same
you know?
thing for plants? It seems like sometimes you got to stress them a little bit to get.
Depends on the plant. Like,
Yeah.
but like you can stress some things and
It's
get
like
better.
peppers. I always
from the
read
fruit. Yeah.
read you let them dry out a little bit and they make it
Yeah,
hotter.
yeah.
Yeah, peppers, things like that. Yeah, that's
They
funny.
get
Like,
hotter. They get put a little
Yeah.
more capsaicin there.
Yeah.
Get a little brighter. They're like, "All right, birds, it's time. Come on, come get me. Come get me. I'm dry."
well, it's like lettuce. You don't want to have it stress because you get bitter.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, so your fruiting stuff you can get away with a little bit, but like lettuces and stuff like that can like or so like our collards and kales are in. People are like they're so tender, they're clean. It's like yeah, because they're in a greenhouse, so they have some wind. But if it's out in the field and it's constantly fighting the wind, they're gonna get really tough.
Oh, so
Oh,
they're just,
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
People think
the
they cook
chill,
them down
that's the
hard.
chillest lettuce you've ever seen, man.
So our
Because-
lettuce has
because-
some drip irrigation
yeah.
to it. We feed it, we have good compost we bring in. We put down microlife fertilizer, so it's got a happy house.
Yeah.
So what they grow. So, but when we harvest them first thing in the morning. So if it gets hot in the day, like our leafy greens are doing fine. But if I went to cut spinach in the afternoon, it's gonna be limpy and wilty,
right.
Because of the heat. So first thing in the morning, it's cool, crisp. We make sure we water the night before just a little bit to make sure they get plenty of moisture to them.
Yeah.
And we bring in, say, like the kales and stuff, we'll run them through cold water and put them in the cooler so they'll cool down. So it's evaporative cooling with the water cooling them down so they have, bigger shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you harvest in the day, they can be, bitter, especially lettuces. They can get like that just bitter lettucey flavor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to us as we get later in this year. We try and push as late as we can, but it starts getting really bitter. And even the first thing in the morning, we'll harvest the whole head and I'll store it for 24 hours in the cooler to let it kind of relax
Chill out,
itself and in there, yeah. So it's things like that, like growing collards in the field. Like people are like, oh, collard greens are tough in this. I'm like, no, not really. Ours they're this big a leaf,
But when they're
so
getting
tender.
battered by the wind and all the elements,
exactly, and I have
the
to fight
plant,
that.
the plant has to increase its like cell wall.
Exactly.
Like the cell wall gets thicker.
Yeah.
So it gets more rigidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a tree in the forest versus on its own.
Right. Yeah. Or like peppers.
Yeah.
Peppers that do the same thing.
Any
If it
kind of
has no
plant, yeah.
wind, just stay all like
They stay
green.
shorter
Yeah.
and stuff versus getting taller. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
I left my peppers out just get abused during this hurricane.
I know, and they're like barky. They're like
It's like,
thick.
no, y'all are on your own. You're on your own. I
Ain't
brought a
giving no
couple in,
love.
but you're on your own.
ain't
man.
giving no love to your peppers.
Now
You
they're,
don't-
now they're going to be 2 years.
You don't
Yeah,
want
it's true.
that for tomatoes though because they'll get beat up and bruised.
Yeah.
They
I'm
want to be
telling you,
banged
I haven't-
around.
I'm just going to buy tomatoes from you, man.
Yeah,
I'm not going to try to
'cause
break.
I am too, because I can't.
I can't. You know.
I cannot harvest a damn like. I haven't got a tomato in like 2 years. Not since I moved from the compound. I used to be able to grow good tomatoes in that little area.
Yeah.
Like in the little
In that little
whatever
cubby area,
the little
the patio.
Yeah, in the patio. But ever since then, I have not been able to harvest a single tomato.
People are impressed. Like they don't realize what we put into our tomatoes. Like
It's a lot of work.
They're so finicky,
I get them
They're
grafted.
so finicky.
But the crazy thing is, they're tomatoes are the horrible, but because they're super susceptible, super all this things can happen.
Yeah.
But they're also super durable. You can lay a tomato on the ground, it'll take root and grow if you get water.
That's true.
You know, that's what.
Yeah, the vegetative part of it. The vines, like they're very, very. But the fruit though is, it's so finicky.
It just depends. I mean, like some of the heirlooms are that way on growth wise. You'll get some gnarly, like what is this thing doing? Because we try and regulate between a vegetative state and a fruiting state.
Yeah.
So we keep them at like 20 to 24 tomatoes on a plant at a time. With our thread slicers, the Big Dinas, it's bred for that. So they've taken this one grows straighter, this one does this. It's not putting many suckers on. Where some of the heirlooms, you're going, that's a gnarly plant. It's putting branches off the branch. You know, you're going, But we go through every week. You know, there's about a 4-day process of every week what we do with these tomatoes, not counting harvesting.
Yeah.
So you go through, we lower and lean, we pull suckers, we take fruit clusters and break it down to about 3 or 4 fruit per cluster, so you're not getting heavy clusters. Even distribution of yield in the plants. So we're like, oh, you have green tomatoes? I said, yeah, when I cut we trim them back, and you're cutting lower branches. So there's a step.
So that'll be a green tomato that you can use for something else?
Yeah, we'll harvest them for someone else if they want them, but normally it's like, say you got 5 tomatoes
I know somebody who wants them.
Is a tomatillo just a green tomato?
No,
it's
a
an
totally
actual
different plant.
it's
Totally different plant.
I know somebody who wants those green tomatoes.
Yeah?
You can have your new customer.
Okay, you want some?
No. Texana Grill.
Okay.
Use green tomatoes every week. They use green tomatoes like crazy.
And so the thing is, you get into that. So someone who's using, depends on the restaurant. So if we're trying to use up the restaurant, we're not the cheapest price. I have a little bit of wholesale rate for them.
Yeah.
But that's the hardest thing, is being able to fit that into your food budget.
Yeah.
Will people pay that extra $2 a plate to support the local because they know you're bringing it in?
Right.
And I'm not just a name on the menu and you hadn't bought anything for me in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
There's that kind of that truth in menu laws in the
that
States.
kind of is a thing. It's like if they haven't actually used your products and they're still
but they're pumping me out in the name, and I'm like, well, thanks for the
Mm-hmm.
advertising, but you ain't selling me, throw me any money in a couple weeks buying produce, So I prefer the restaurants who don't advertise. So when Gather was open,
sure.
I mean, Monica's does a phenomenal. I love Monica's. She's a great promoter of everything local, food wise, supporting your farmers, supporting everything local from your own community. Gather, people didn't know about that. They bought 90% of their produce came from us. Sugar's is another big one. They don't advertise, but they know the quality is there and it will last them.
Right.
They're not going to HEB and it's sitting there for a week before they even get it, so the shelf life's cut in half. Every time that I talk to Chris, it's like, man, I still got plenty from last week. It looks great.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing I've never thought about is like I try not to buy as many vegetables, or I'll buy them frozen for what I cook, because they just rot in my fridge most of the time. But I never really thought about them.
Most stuff's 4 to 7 days old when you get in the store. Yeah. Because it goes to the big farm to the distribution center to they're trying to get there as fast as they can. And they're watching their ethylene gases. They're doing all this kind of stuff to help manipulate and hold the produce better.
Yeah.
Keep it wrapped in cellophane and this. And some crops hold fine, like potatoes and those root tubers and stuff.
Onions.
But that's why you see people will pay a little more for carrots with the tops on them with no tops, because carrots will store for months on end. So we sell the carrots we can.
The top won't, though.
Tops won't last. That's why they top them. That's why they lose moisture. Like we have our beets, we harvest them, we try and sell with the tops on. Shows freshest quality. Same with the carrots.
Or that zucchini with a little flour on it.
I love the carrots with the tops on them though, because it's like it looks all fancy.
Yeah,
you roast that shit with your chicken. You serve that on a plate.
Yeah. But people just throw them away most of the time. So we trim them back to be shorter, but it still shows the fresh tops on them because most people just cut them off ananyway.
Yeah.
So you
can use them though, right?
You can use it soups. You can make pesto with the carrot tops.
You do stock with it.
Yeah, make a stock.
Yeah. I mean, it's a strong flavor. It can be a very strong flavor. They're very smells like carroty. In that sense. So most people though are going to just throw them away or feed them their rabbits or.
It's like the bottoms of the onion with the roots. You just put that in a stock pot.
Yeah, things like that. So like root crops will store like we do when I do our watermelon or radishes, black radishes, not the little ones like French breakfast, but the bigger ones. They'll store for 3 months. So we'll do like a crop. I can harvest them all, top them, and store them and pull them out of the cooler and sell them. So I have a continuous crop. I don't have to keep growing all the time.
Yeah,
I can do one bed of it, harvest them all. We get running low, we'll do another one.
Yeah,
but they'll last. That's the root sellers and storing root crops.
Yeah. Because you just stick them down there and they're good. I mean, potatoes will last for a long time.
You keep them cold months. Yeah.
Well, When are y'all open? When can people come by and check
Thursdays
it out?
Thursdays and Fridays 2 to 7. We're out in Finette, and then Saturdays 1 to 4. Beaumont Farmers Market we're there year round. Well, not year round, but when it's open Saturday mornings 8 to 11.
They kind of have like a little close spot in the dead middle of winter. Don't they?
They're closing this next weekend's the last one, the 19th.
That's right.
We open the 16th of January.
That's right.
But we're going to be open, so then they get Christmas market. So we did a special for Thanksgiving market, and we're going to do it for Christmas. We're going to be open Wednesday and Thursday, 2 to 7. Yeah. Same for New Year's, but we close because Christmas and New Year's on a Friday.
At the Finette stand.
Out in Finette, 11073 Colomay. And we're in the back of a neighborhood, so you don't think you're lost. But you can find us on Facebook. There's directions there. If you search Donna's Farm, there's Google, pull up directions, phone number.
Y'all are all over.
I try and post daily. If
somebody message you on Facebook,
we'll respond. Most of the time, not middle of the night or whatever. But I try and when we post, I try and put as much information out.
I need Swiss chard right now. right now.
But the list will pretty much be the same through the wintertime till the spring. All your salad, spinach, leafy greens, root crops, all coming in right now. It's a great time of year for that kind of stuff. We still have we have 4 types of sweet potatoes out there. This is the beef from water tech. 4 types of sweet potatoes. You didn't know that.
Do you grow those? Do you grow like the red potatoes that taste like butter?
So I don't grow potatoes. We don't grow potatoes. We're too flat. A friend of mine, Gunnerman Acres, south of Wharton, down there. It's a 600-acre organic farm. It's worth my time. He grows 45 acres.
You sell his potatoes?
I bring his potatoes in. I bring his sweet potatoes in. Yeah. We stopped growing squash this year because it's not worth my time to grow squash. So I bring So there's certain things you can get at the farm stand that you won't get at the farmer's market.
Okay, that's what I was wondering because I do not get up early on Saturdays, and I always show up late, and it's like whenever I get to y'all's booth, it's like there's only like a couple of things left.
It's run dry. Yeah.
That's what we do 1 to 4 on Saturdays. For that reason. We get our farm stand, but we may open a little sooner. But it's me, mom, and dad. And, it's kind of hard to be open all the time. Everything, but we tell people we want the early stuff come Thursdays and Fridays. We have more selection at the farm stand. No one that really in the area really grows potatoes. It's a pain. My buddy Garrett grows 45 acres at a time of stuff. He's got machines that can harvest. It's like cool. I can bring his stuff in. I know the quality of what he grows, and we bring his stuff sometimes from the Taylors or up in Kirbyville. A couple of the farmers in the area against the grain when they were growing here. Just so we support our own farmers, support each other, and to give people options. That way I can specialize in growing what I grow really well, which are tomatoes.
And you can send it to them.
And you will continually have people out there buying from you.
Exactly. We offer. That's when we offer the beef from Water, Texas, chicken from Lone Star Sustainable Farm.
So if you want to skip the grocery store and go to Donna's Farm.
You can get, there's a lady in our neighborhood that comes to shops every week with us. She's like, I don't need to go to Beaumont. 20 minutes away.
Wow. Yeah.
We have people drive down she's starting to plan her trips coming from Newton to come shop with us.
Yeah.
Oh. And I make value-added products. So I have like a pear butter I made with our honey.
Like an apple butter, but pear butter? Yeah.
With Bartlett pears.
Got bees
our honey.
too?
Yeah, we got bees too. We got our honey. So I started labeling my honey seasonal. So like it's fall 2019, spring, summer 2020, like a wine. Yeah. You can see the different flavors.
You can, yeah. What's the difference between an alfalfa honey or a tallow honey or a clover honey?
Yep. And like in the wintertime we plant, I got cover crops out there for like the mustards and stuff that'll flower. The bees love them.
Mustard honey?
Yeah. Well, you can't pick the flavor with the Nebraska family, but the rice from Harvest Grain Mills out in Anahuac. And then we have when all our extra tomatoes are made tomato basil soup. I've got an Italian squash soup made from zucchini. Yeah. With like the Italian herbs in there. It's super simple. The pear butter I said it has just vanilla beans and honey and the pears cooked down.
Yeah, so you have some pantry items too.
Yeah, pantry items. Yeah, it's all pressure canned or sealed. We got fig preserve, stuff like that. We're trying to offer a little bit of everything. Eggs, duck eggs, chicken eggs, so you can fill your larder up and custom stuff. Do whatever. If you have any questions about cooking, we tell everyone we're an open farm. We tell people,
so
what we do, how we do it.
Think smaller.
Yeah.
Think smaller, you know what I mean? Think whole ingredients. You know what I mean? Skip all the boxes. Skip all that other dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll tell you to cook
real raw ingredients.
One of the customers came up. She bought our cabbages, and we sell her. You buy a cabbage store, it's like a perfect little cabbage. We sell it with all the outer leaves too, because they're all just edible.
Right.
She's like, I'll make cabbage rolls. We're like, oh yeah, you got to make the rice and cook this. She said, no, I use boudin. I said, what? That's genius.
Yeah.
You get your favorite boudin. She said, cut it open, roll it up. It's perfectly. It's like that's genius.
I'll tell you after this because I don't want anybody else to know, but I'll tell you how I make my tomato soup.
Oh yeah.
Gatekeeping.
Onions, garlic, onions, garlic,
gatekeeping.
and basil, and local tomatoes. That's what I do.
Well, let's shut it down. Let's trade some recipes.
I've heard the KISS method.
Brent, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, man. You guys enjoyed it.
Yeah,
thanks,
dude.
Brent.
It'll be great. Go check out Donna's Farm and go get your greens.
Shop local, man. Support local.
Go get some goddamn produce.
That's right. We'll tell you how to cook it too.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
What do you use thinking it for your bisque? Nothing. All right, a huge special thanks to Brent from Donna's Farm. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for, illuminating what it means to have a small farm like that. And also, good luck moving forward. Sorry about the freeze and everything, but
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. And
they're already working on stuff.
And make sure that if you're interested in this, they got all that produce. Go hit the produce stand up. It's out there in Finette. Take the drive, make it worth your drive. Get a big old sack of produce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hit them up. Follow them on all their socials. We'll have the links down below, and you can see what they got cooking up, what they got growing, and what they managed to salvage and everything. They're still doing it.
They still on it.
They're just playing catch up right now. So go and support them. Buy whatever they have, whether it's the value added goods like the jams and all the other stuff they got, and they even got eggs and. They got all kinds of good stuff out at the farm stand. So go down, check them out, and hit them up at the Beaumont Farmers Market on Saturday before you go to Art Taco.
Hey, look at that.
We want to do a special shout out to our patrons on Patreon. Oh my goodness, some of y'all have been with us since the beginning.
We are eternally grateful.
It really does. Being a Patreon really keeps this place going. It keeps our hearts and our spirits up. And you can be a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Like $1 a month is less than you pay for your my $1 Shave Club or whatever.
Yeah,
or for your MeUndies subscription.
Hey man, coffee costs $5 these days.
Or your HelloFresh subscription. Like you could save that. Just go to HEB and get your stuff and give us $1. That would be really cool. Patreon.com/A to Z BMT.
That's right. And coming up on our next episode, A to Z 127 is going to be Alyssa Ashcraft and Ariana Akbari, and they are going to talk about environmental justice and what it's going to take to keep certain things accountable to our place. And it's pretty complicated, so you're going to have to come back and listen to it and really get the full scope of it, but it's very, very interesting, you guys.
That's right. Another one in the bag, Restaurant Week. It's going to be a good week, man. I'm going to get
fat, dog. I'm going to get so fat.
Yeah, because our fitness challenge is going to be over at the end of this week. So
at the end of this week?
Yeah. It's the beginning of spring break.
Is that the beginning of spring break?
Yeah, so we got to weigh ourselves before we get fed.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's lucky.
At the end of this week. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to stop eating right now.
I'm not.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, that's it. Guys, come back, see us next time, and see the results of our fitness challenge. It's gonna be really funny.
It's gonna be the exact same numbers.
The exact same shit.
We didn't change. People don't change. You didn't change.